to Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and here we are today with block 10 of the In a New York Beauty Minute, and you're going to find this PDF below. Yes, I had little issues putting this together, but it'll be fine. And I've got a little wrinkle. It'll be fine. But anyway, so our palette is green, purple, and orange, and we're having a good time putting this together. But first, before we go too far into this, Leslie Quilts is on our shout out this week, and you go check them out and, you know, give them some love and encouragement. I mean, everybody needs love and encouragement these days. So their YouTube link is going to be in our show notes below. Also, Quilt Bingo is underway, and once Quilt Bingo ends, our next sew along is going to be Twinkle Twinkle. So save your strings. There's your first hint. Save your strings and all of your string colors, right? Because we're going to make this rather eclectic and lovely. So that's your only clue I'm giving out right now. Also, you have the Zoom sew days from now until the end of December. It's from 9 a.m. To 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, because I'm in Alberta, Canada, and we get lots done that day, and we just have a lot of fun, and people come and go all day long, and I hope to get to talk to everybody that comes in, but sometimes the conversation gets away from me and I don't get a word in, so it's a good day to come and laugh and get stuff done. Also, please share, like, and subscribe our videos to your quilting friends. Making comments helps push our analytics forward so we can continue bringing you fun free patterns. We also have a Facebook group, and if you're part of the Facebook community, come on and join us. We have a virtual sewing room under Discord, numerous family or community chats, and fabric exchanges by country to keep the postal costs down. Also, I speak for free to quilting gals and quilting groups, and I'm hoping to get my next speaking topic presentation for December of 2025. So if you already heard from me, right, you can come and ask me for the second one. That would be a lot of fun to try to do that, and hopefully I'll have enough pictures for everybody then too. Now, also, for speaking for free, I do talk about elements of design, working with scrap fabrics, and making charity quilts, because that's what we do here, right? We make charity quilts. Also, shout outs. If you guys find some quilting channel that needs some love and encouragement, please give me their link and tell me their name and all the rest of the stuff, right? Give me as much information as possible so I can go find them. I'm really I have a hard time finding things, so, you know, send me their link if you can, either through the About tab, I have an email address there, or through the Facebook group. I'm really fast at answering those, and I'd be happy to give them a shout out. But we got to keep it a secret because it's fun to sneak around and do nice things for people. So I think that's it. So come on in and let's get to the sewing. Okay, here we are at the sewing machine. Yes, you need a lot of stuff for this, right? So I've cut apart my pattern and everything. So you need a ruler, you know, like a little bit larger ruler. A fabric scissor, right, to cut out your pattern. And this you just cut like you would like any sewing pattern, right? You know, where your straight grains are on the outside edges. And I have a paper scissor here as well. And I've marked all where I'm going to do my foundation paper piecing, right, with this tracing wheel. That is just such a godsend, a good idea. A little scissors just for clipping. Tape is your friend in case you have to start unpicking. And your rotary cutter and add a quarter ruler. You can use a regular ruler if you need to. You know, it's entirely up to you. Entirely up to you. So let's get the pieces we don't need right away. And I'm just going to show you how I did this. What I did was I actually marked on the lines here as to which one I want where, right? So that's going to help me place my pieces and everything else. Now I just ripped these so that we would end up with, you know, reasonably good placed lines. Oops, let's get this off. I just want to trim off the salvage edge here because I don't need it. I do not need it in my quilt. Okay, so I'm going to put right sides together, right? And I'm going to start at the end here. And I'm just going to put the purple down, and I'm going to put like 1/4 inch-ish, a 1/4 inch-ish, kind of like, well, I'm going to do my best to get a 1/4 inch, but you know, it's all okay. You shorten your stitch length. You make sure you have a sharp needle. sharp needle is really a good idea. Now I hold it in the seam allowance just until I get it past the, you know, just to make a knot, right? And then I take the next piece, okay, which is this one, and I'm going to start, now this side, I start on this side, so this one I'm going to start on this side. So my folds are going one way and this is going the other way, right? So I'm going to take the orange first, and I have more, of course I have more selvage I've got to get rid of. That's okay, I forgot. That's okay, that's okay. I trimmed the pieces a bit big because I wanted a little bit extra stuff here hanging about. Okay, so orange goes down. Let's see. There, we use a little piece up first because that's probably better. Okay, so we want that to go like this. There we go. And we want the orange up. Okay, wait a minute here. I want the orange this way. No, I want the orange this way. Never mind. I got it. I got it finally. Okay, so I want the orange going this way and this way because I want the seams to go the other way, right? On this, I'm just going to quickly line this up the best I can, you know. And here we go. And on this one, we have 3 bands of color. You just hold it for a sec just to get that little, and this one goes in next. Now on this one, I'm going to start at this end here, the far end here, because I want that to be, I'm just gonna, here we go. I'm gonna line these two. I probably ripped a bit more fabric than I needed, but that's okay. Okay, so now I want the purple down. I want the purple this way. There we go. And I'm going to lay this piece this way. Oops, get that lined up. There we go. And purple and green go this way. There we go. And again, you knot. You get into that seam allowance, you knot it a bit just by holding it. You know, some machines, they're pretty good at just, you know, letting you, you know, apply pressure and then going across. Just like that. And it does not take, this does not take long. This is not a long process here. Okay, now, the rhythm is sew, press, and I'm just finger pressing here because I can. Sew, press, trim, right? So here, I'm just going to trim this off right here. And you keep your fingers away from that line. And I'm going to trim it off on this edge here. Okay, so I get the purple. And I'm going to add my 1/4 of an inch here, right now. Just like that. Okay, so I get this. And I'm going to put this down like that. Okay, get all this out of the way, and we're going to just sew. There, I'm in the seam allowance, I hold it, I go across, hold it again, and there. And now I've got little knots on both ends. It does make my stuff a little harder to take apart, but the results are worth it, right? You know, like I don't have, when I'm pulling away the paper, I don't have my stitches coming loose. So let's get this orange off first. And I just want to trim it. And I should get off the hinge when I'm trimming. That would be good. Just a 1/4 inch wider than the seam allowance, because that's going to be helpful right there. Okay. And get this green now trimmed. Okay, the green is being trimmed right there. And I just want to lay that nice and flat. There we go. There, just like that. And I get that little orange piece that's sewn on off. Okay, now I lay down the next orange. This is all about what do I do next. what do I do next? Especially when you're doing 3 of them. And this is why, and like you can see here, where I'm rating on my pieces what color goes next. Because I don't want to be picking out stuff. And that's one of the ways that you get around it. So I'm sewing on an orange piece on this particular one I'm running through right at the moment here. And that's helping me stay organized. Okay, so that's kind of important, right? Now, okay. So once you get going on these things, they're kind of fun. Now, if I was doing an entire quilt with this New York Beauty motif, my strategy would be probably do all of the same pieces at the same time, right? So I would want, let's see, I'm just going to get this out of the way, make it nice and flat and square, and I'm going to trim off this, just like so. And this crumb now is big enough to go in my crumb box. And I'm going to trim the green. Ooh, okay. There we go. And I'm going to pull this straight up and hopefully not lose there. Okay, I gotta get this out of the way first. Okay, there we go. I'm just gonna move this up here on the board and trim here. Right, I'm just going to trim here. There. I'm just going to trim it off like that, because then I know exactly what I've got, you know, what I'm trimming here. Okay, there we go. Now, next one up is purple. Purple on this. And there we go. I'm going to take my piece. And I'm going to make sure I get coverage, right? That's important to have coverage on this line, because this is a little wonky. Okay, and you get that under. Okay, so there we go. There. Now, oops. Okay. So you keep doing this, you know, sew, trim, repeat, or sew, press, trim, right? That's the rhythm you do get into when you're doing these, and they're very easy to do. But if I was doing an entire quilt, I would do just one ring at a time and do all of them at once. Right, so whatever I was planning on doing here, I would make sure I have my fabric ready, trimmed, and ready to go, right? So that would be helpful to me. That's okay. Oh, I got a bunch of green stuff here. Let's get that off. Okay, so, well, that's weird. Okay, so I'm going to, just like this, there we go. Turn it there. There we go. Yeah, it's, we got kittens last week. Oh, get kittens, he said. It would be fun, he said. Oh my goodness. They are just rambunctious. You know, they're right at that, early teen stage, or 20, 25 weeks or whatever. It's just like, oh my goodness. I was not ready emotionally for such an energetic pet. That's all I'm going to say, because, you know, kittens have a lot of energy, and then you find them sleeping, right? So, and it's kind of that sleep when they do, because you're not letting them, they don't respect that you need sleep. These guys, it's just like, wow. But they're cute. They're very, very cute. And I know that kitten stage is not going to last long. I get that. But in the meantime, I'm not sleeping very well. So that's where I'm kind of coming from right now. So bear with me. Yeah, bear with me. Okay. There we go. Yeah, they've been, I have gone to some of the Discord sewing. We're filming this on the 21st of July. So I have, you know, like the people that come to the Discord sewing group, they have seen the babies. And, yeah, it's been interesting. Let's put it that way. It's been interesting. Okay, next up is green here. On here, let's take a look at where that green needs to be. And I'm just trimming this so that it's less of it to worry about, right? As I'm going around the curve. That's too small. And there, just like that. There we go. And you make sure you get on this one that you've got a good 1/4 inch so you have something to trim, right? Otherwise, that becomes a very tiny little piece very quickly. There. Yeah, so they're, like I say, they're, and last night we had our grandkids over and we had supper with them and introduced them to the kittens. Oh my goodness. Pandemonium reigned. And do I have enough coverage? Oh, just barely. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, that wasn't smart, but then that's almost the last piece. Okay, so yeah, I do have coverage. Just have coverage there. I just have coverage. So that's a good thing. Maybe I should quit talking so much. Oh well, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah, get rid of all this excess string. Yeah, but anyways, we've been having fun with them, even though it's a little chaotic. And like I say, kittens play at all hours of the day and night. You know, and they're at that age where they want to play. But the grandkids really enjoyed them. We kept trying to explain to them, you know, be gentle, because they haven't been in our house very long, right? So it's that's kind of a, be gentle, or they have very sharp claws. That's how we explain it. Be gentle. That's a good idea. Be gentle. Yeah. But we did enjoy our time last night with the grandkids and the kittens and all the shrieking that comes with the grandkids. They have very healthy lungs. And yeah, it was fun. Okay, what's next? Orange, yes. Orange. Okay. Oh dear. There we go. I'm just putting a different angle on this piece so that I get good coverage. There we go. If it sticks out on both sides of these curves, we've got to probably have the block covered. You know. Oh. Yeah. Okay, now. There we go. And like I say, I'm just trimming this just to have less to deal with. There. Yeah, okay. There we go. Now, purple is next. And where's my purple? There it is. Now, I think I'm at the point where I'm just about ready to So I got one of these done now, which seems weird to have one done already, but here we are. Here it is, you know. There we go. I'm just gonna get that. All right, now 1/4 inch pass the seam allowance. There we go. And this will go into my crumb bin. There. Now, this one is done, so it needs to be trimmed with fabric scissors, and I'll get to that one in a bit. But in the meantime, we're going to finish off the rest of these. Now, I'm going to cut here because you guys have kind of got the idea that you just do this this paper piecing portion, and I think where you're having, you know, if anybody's asking questions, they're asking questions about the curves. And I think that's more important to spend a little bit more time on the curves than it is the piecing. So I'm going to cut the video here, and I'll be back when we're getting ready to do the curves. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, as you can see, we got all the pieces here. Now, I'm just going to flip these over, and you can see what we're going to make. Now, these pieces here, you can just remove for now, because you don't need them. Now, we are always starting this way, like we're starting here, and this is where we're going to continue doing that. Because there's 3-pieced bits, this is where it becomes a little more challenging, right? Because when you're doing piece bit to piece bit, I am finding that I am a little better with the pinning. And I mean, yes, you know, pinning is sometimes a necessary evil, and I mean, you just have to deal with it. If I was taking my papers off, that would be different, because then, you know, you could just, you know, wing it, but, you know, you could just go around and whatnot. But I just find I'm not quite as, that does not put me in my happy place. So what I'm going to do is match up the centers first, and give that just a little bite. Just a little bite. Then we're going to match up the sides. Now I've got a 1/4 inch on all of the sides, right? So we have a little wiggle room, just in case. You know, sometimes it's nice to build in a little wiggle room, just because you can. And I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying this is, you know, for me, these blocks, I mean, are gorgeous, but they also can be really fiddly. And I'm like, and because you're sewing a curve, sometimes, you know, sometimes your feed dogs aren't picking it up correctly. Sometimes this is happening, that's happening. I don't know, you're not holding your tongue right in your mouth the right way or something. And all of a sudden, you have an issue. Well, pinning will avoid the issue. And sometimes avoiding that issue is a good idea. So let me just work this in here. Oh, come on. Now you're too high. Okay, there we go. Now you're too low. And you're too over. Okay, let's go. Right here. Right in the middle. Wow. This one shouldn't be that big a challenge to put together, but apparently today it's going to be. Okay, oh, that's fine. You can be difficult all you want. Ah, yeah. So these kittens, nobody's getting to sleep in this house. Oh my gosh. Hopefully by the time you're seeing this or this video drops, I'm hoping that they're sleeping and not partying all night long, because that's getting old quickly. You know, get kittens, he said. Oh my gosh, yeah. So let's just, okay, I'm going to go this way. No, I'm going to go this way. Yeah, I should go this way. Yeah, I'll go this way. What the heck? Oh, then I can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to go this way. All right, so I'm just going to put this under my foot. And I don't have a 1/4 inch foot because I find I can see a little bit better with this foot than I can with a 1/4 inch. And here we go. Now it's just writing a little high, but that's okay. And I know some of you are probably cringing, going, why are you doing it this way? I'm trying to get the ripples out before we get to the point where we have to deal with the ripple. Hang on, there we go. And I'm pulling my pins as we go, so I don't have to go over them and risk nicking my needle. Because when you're doing foundation paper piecing, it's really important you have a sharp needle. And if you don't have a sharp needle, your papers are going to be very difficult to take off. Now you just maneuver a bit. Now you can see I'm kind of struggling here a bit. I'm only going a few stitches and then I stop and I readjust where my 1/4 inch is. You know, because sometimes you're not going to get a nice smooth seam, and sometimes slow and steady wins the race. This is very true in sewing curves. You know, you don't want to be too fast. And ooh, there we go. I'll get that one off. There we go. Last one. There. Nice. Okay. There. Now, I'm just going to pull this. Okay. Now, this is going to force this way, but that's okay, because that's the way we would want to force it. And I don't have, I do not have any puckers. Unbelievable. That's amazing. So now we're going to do these two. And not only am I looking for that center, I could line it up just on this, on the edge. That's right. I could just line it up here on the edges and that would work. Because I've got 5 bits and I've got 5. There we go. And take the smallest bite you can. Do this one. Take that. Get right in that point. Get right in this point, about a 1/4 inch down. And take, again, the smallest bite. And of course, you just rip through your paper. There we go. Take the smallest bite. And now this one you're gonna have more problems with, because you still have a relatively tight curve. And you've got both papers, right? So you want to make sure it's pinned. So you get a nice curve going on. Okay, there we go. It looks like a porcupine by the time you're done. Probably stings like one too. There. There, we got 2 more pins to go until we get to the end. Now we get to this. I could probably make this easier on my life if I took the paper off, but I'm not ready to take the paper off just yet. Because that means if I take the paper off, that means I have to deal with that bias edge, because you don't know what edge this is, right? You know, it could be anything. It could be all over the place, right? So now I'm just going to meet in between, because I think that would be important that I have, and you just want to check to make sure you're getting that midway point and both fabrics are being caught, right? And there's the middle. It gives you a, when you take the time to do this, you get a nice curve, right? And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a beautiful, nice curve. you know, and there we go. Yeah. Push down just a hair. There we go. There. Now, again, you can do it this way. It doesn't matter which way you do it now. It's a little easier under the sewing machine if you do this. But, you know, oh, you gotta see where your pins are and everything. And you just go straight for a little ways, and then you adjust. I should probably have the pins on this side. Okay, go straight away and adjust. Take your pin out as you're adjusting. Okay. Oops. Oh, I touched the needle. Okay, well, it didn't break the needle, so we're good. Okay. Come on. There we go. Oops, I got the thread around the needle now. Ugh, put it back in its track. There we go. When you try and follow that 1/4 inch mark the best you can. That's all you can do, right? There we go. This one is probably the most complex so far. I can't remember what 11 and 12 look like anymore. I drew this out so long ago. I was like, oh, that's not good. I can't give these guys warning. Warning! Warning, this is going to be really hard. There we go. And there we go. Right to the end. Right off the end. And we've got a bowl-shaped thing going on, but that's okay. That's okay. There. Now, this, normally, once the papers are out, this will push down in. It'll go this direction in, right? So we're just going to finger press it in place and make it happen. And now we've got another one we're going to do, and the same thing. This is a little easier curve, so that should go, it should go quickly, you know, reasonably quick. And like I say, I am going to pin these because there's paper, right? I know, you guys are like, oh God, again with the paper. Yes, again with the paper. And I want to make sure, because I've got some lovely spikes here, right? I want to make sure I get as close as I can from the spike that's at the bottom of this triangle to the top of this. I want to make sure I get a really nice fit. There we go. And I'm just going to pin that extra one in there right now. And, you know, look at the back too, just make sure you're not missing something at the back, right? There we go. Get that. Get the top of that spike. This also, like when you're pinning, this also improves the look of your finished block, believe it or not. And I'm just going to make sure I get that right there. The center of that block right there. Now, so yeah, the more pinning and stuff like that you do, the better it looks. And some people, all they do is sew with pins, right? I mean, when they're doing more complex blocks, especially when they're doing more complex blocks, they pin. They believe, you know, quilting is about pinning. And they come out with some stellar blocks. Now, if you were doing a competition quilt, your pinning, not only would you pin your point, you'd pin on either side of your point. right? Just so, and that's where those double ended pins come in really handy. Because you can do, you know, especially if you're, you know, you're going to have a judge, your quilt judge or something like that, and you just want that perfection, you know, in your quilting, that the piecing, I mean, that's where those pins come in really handy. They're beautiful to work with too, and they're really the gauge on them. Just a sec. The gauge on them is really fine. So they slip through paper, fabric, everything just like butter, right? I mean, and they can also, but be careful, they can also slip through your finger. Okay, there we go. We're almost at the end of this pinning. I don't think I'll work too hard pinning the last bit. Well, maybe, what the heck. Let's see if I can't get one block just absolutely perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, oops, come on. Oh, don't break. And the fabric, and the paper is falling apart. Great. Okay. Now, we're going to make sure we get that all pinned first. There we go. And the last little bits. Get right in the corner just before the cheat, and right in the corner just before the cheat here. And you can flip this over to see where you're at. Yeah. There we go. Get that nice tight lined up. There we go. And get a pin in there because it's just a little far. Now, I have a problem right here. So what I can do is I can just keep pinning, and I think I'm going to pin my problem out so I don't have the problem. There, that'll work. And right here, that'll work. You can see sometimes where something is not quite perfect, and you can pin it out. You can work out the problem by pinning it. Okay, so here we go. We're going to put this down. And again, there we go. Everything lined up the way we need it to be. And there we go. Oops. I shouldn't have went over that pin, but okay, we did. Oops. Don't sew over your pins. I do it, say it, and then I do it. Oh my god. Just. There we go. There we go again, and ooh, right to the end. Okay, now it's right to the end. Excellent. There we go. Now I'm pretty sure I got that wobble out. Yes, I did. Ooh, nice. And look how everything lines up. Oh my goodness. Okay, pinning did help my block. Look at these points. So this is where I had all the issue, right? And I had to pin. Look now where my points are. Just lovely, lovely points. So it is worth your time to take and pin out those issues, and you know, not to get all crazy on it, but you know, you'll find that it's a little easier. Now I am going to pinch this in place. I'm going to give it a little finger press. Get these lined up right at the dots. Oops. There we go. There. And now we're going to pin this one in place. Get this going. Where did it go? Right, oh, there it is. Okay. And there it is. Get that all lined up. And we pin only about a 1/4 inch down, and just take the tiniest bite if you can. Take the tiniest bite you can. Don't take a great big bite, because this is a curve. Things have to be able to move, right? So that's kind of important, that, you know, things be able to move, right? As you're sewing. Oops, okay. So there. So my first quilt I did on a New York Beauty, one of the things I did is I twisted this as I pinned it, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get this to work. And it was like, oh, you can't get this to work because you were dumb. You did this. Of course it's not going to work when you do that. Okay. Just going to get this quickly. Pins in place. Yeah, I twisted it. I twisted the outer corner piece. And of course then nothing wanted to lay flat. Nothing wanted to go. And I just could not figure out what I did until I got to the end. And I was like, oh, that's what I did. Okay. Well, that makes sense now. Of course nothing is going to work. And you only want to pin a 1/4 of an inch down on these, because that works best. There we go. There. And you don't have to put as many pins in this last one, because this is a little bit more, it's a gentler curve, right? Because it's a bigger circle, or a bigger 1/4 circle. So let's get this baby under here. Get it lined up. And you can kind of maneuver this back and forth a bit. There we go. And then I'm going to get that little string thing off. The tail of string. There we go. Mastering curves, though, I know we did curve boot camp. Mastering curves is such a really good way of, you know, like, you expand the number of blocks you're able to sew. That's why you want to master techniques. And I know sometimes it's a pain to do, but it's really important sometimes that we do this, right? I mean, you know, they say a mind that's learning always stays young. And we were talking about this the other day, and I don't make a secret about how old I am. I'm 66, and I find the more I create, or the more I learn, the more I'm out there doing, the younger I feel. Because I feel alive, right? Because you're, you know, it's kind of that, oh, we're still creating, we're still useful, we still have a purpose, right? There we go. There. All right. Now, oops. There we go. Now, because of the paper, this is going to push out this way, and just let it happen. Just let it happen that way. You might have to clip the orange fabric here, that on that outer edge, just so you get a nice smooth, you know, just so it lays nice and smooth. But right now that's looking pretty good. So let me get it ironed, and I'll give it a trim to 12.5, and then we'll see where we're at, and we'll get to our ta-da moment. Okay, here's our big ta-da moment for block 10. And as you can see, the 3 bands of paper are still on there. I will pull it off later, but right now I don't want to be playing with the biases on these edges here. I just want to leave it for a bit. So I do hope you're trying to sew these along and you're having some fun with, you know, doing the curves. And yes, you have to learn how to do some pinning, but that's okay. Pinning is okay. It's a good skill to learn. So anyways, like I say, I hope you're having fun with this one. I know I'm surely enjoying this. So I hope everything in your life is going great and your 1/4 inch is just absolutely perfect. So have a fabulous week ahead and stay well and take care until we see each other again. Okay, bye! My husband and I would like to thank you for all of your support and watching our videos and sharing and liking. It has just been, you've put us on such an amazing journey and we are having so much fun. I hope everything is going so well in your life and, you know, your 1/4 inch is perfect. Everything is working out for you. And we're just so happy to be part of your life and you having, like I say, you're watching us. I was just so thrilled that you're doing that. So I want to say goodbye and I want to thank you with all my heart. Okay? Take care. Bye.